Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're jumping straight into a massive, frankly staggering financial mystery that's currently unfolding inside Tamil Nadu's state-run liquor operations. It's a massive story about money, systemic loopholes, and exactly how the newly formed government is stepping in to pull the plug on it all. Look at the sheer size of that number, 1,600 crore rupees. That is the fortune allegedly siphoned right out of the state exchequer over the past 5 years. And according to government sources, this wasn't an accident. This money was systematically routed through an unofficial, deeply embedded party fund hidden right inside the liquor sales network. To put that into perspective, let's break it down. We are talking about an incredible 102 crore rupees reportedly diverted into these unofficial channels every single month. Officials aren't calling this an accounting error. No, this was a steady daily drain of public funds happening right under the radar.
Section 1. The 1,600 crore crackdown.
In his very first cabinet meeting, Chief Minister Joseph Vijay made fixing this his absolute top priority. And Minister K. Vignesh, the guy spearheading this massive overhaul, laid down a hard line for the new administration. His message was crystal clear: zero revenue from corruption. The instruction was incredibly urgent. Literally, arrest the leakages immediately and get the people's money back into the treasury where it belongs. But, actually enforcing that order, it's a monumental task. I mean, think about the scale here. We are dealing with over 4,000 retail outlets serving 88 lakh consumers every single month. When an operation is that sprawling, it's just highly susceptible to systemic leaks. Monitoring it requires absolute precision, which is why we really need to understand how this leakage actually worked. Section 2, Anatomy of the Party Fund and its Systematic Diversion. So, how does the system like this operate for nearly 2 decades? Well, it was incredibly organized. We're not just talking about someone casually skimming off the cash register. These unofficial collections were actually priced out based on standardized cases of alcohol. It was roughly 90 rupees skimmed per case of liquor, 40 rupees for beer, and 20 rupees for wine. It essentially functioned as a parallel tax system. And the craziest part, officials claim these informal collections happened across the entire supply chain. The skimming started right at the warehouse dispatch, rode along through the transportation networks, and trickled all the way down to the local retail outlets. It was a completely vertically integrated system of alleged diversion. Section 3. The Empty Bottle Loophole. Now, the devil is absolutely in the details here. Let's look at a microtransaction that created a massive vulnerability. Every month, nearly 1 crore, that's 10 million liquor bottles, are sold across the state. Now, there's a buyback system where customers pay an extra 10 rupees up front as a deposit. You bring the empty bottle back, you get your 10 rupees back. It's supposed to encourage recycling, right? But here is where the math totally falls apart. Internal estimates show that for every 1 lakh bottles sold, only about 60,000 actually made it back. That means 40,000 bottles basically vanished into thin air. So what happened to those 10 rupee deposits? They were left floating in the system, completely unaccounted for. Because of that massive 40% gap in the buyback system, officials estimate a scope for nearly 300 crore rupees in irregularities every single month. Honestly, the unreturned bottle deposits alone became a huge source for alleged corruption, far outshadowing those per-case cuts we talked about a minute ago. Section 4. The Anti-Addiction Agenda. Recognizing both the financial drain and the heavy social cost, the new government decided to tie this financial overhaul directly to a broader anti-addiction agenda. And they didn't just talk about it. Boom, one of the chief minister's very first decisions was to immediately shut down 717 Tasmac retail shops across the state. This was a definitive strike against the spread of these outlets. But of course, closing shops means losing money. Shutting them down projects a massive revenue drop of nearly 8,000 crore rupees annually. Yet, the government stood firm and completely ruled out increasing liquor prices to compensate. They made it a point that regular citizens won't be overcharged to make up for the cleanup. So to ensure every single rupee actually reaches the treasury from now on, they're rolling out 3 major administrative reforms. Number 1, tear down those informal cash networks immediately. Number 2, figure out the bottle deposit. Either digitize that 10 rupee refund or just bake it right into the retail price. And finally, outsource the whole bottle buyback system to a dedicated agency by the end of June to make the entire process foolproof and transparent.
Section 5. What happens next?
Liquor operations were targeted first, just because the size of the leakages was undeniable. But the chief minister views this as just step one. The explicit instruction vibrating across all government departments right now is clear. Public money goes to the people. Period. Officials are now mandated to hunt down and identify leakages in every single department. And that brings us to a huge question. Internal sources are already whispering that the mining department is next on the administration's radar. With the liquor sector going through this totally unprecedented shakedown, what other massive systemic leakages are just waiting to be uncovered in the weeks ahead? It is a fascinating display of governments in action, and you can bet we'll be watching closely to see exactly how this whole thing unfolds.